Welcome to Freaky Fauna Friday, where every Friday we take a little time and explore some of the freaks of nature from around the planet we cherish so deeply. So please, jump aboard and let's explore the wilds together. Welcome
yes.
back to Freaky Fauna Friday.
Wonderful. Feels great to be back. I just can't believe it's Friday already. This week has flown by.
I'm losing my voice. Today's Freaky Fauna is, Lampsilius silqueidae. Lampsilius silqueidae.
Okay. I don't know my Latin.
Oh, you this is one of your favorite animals.
A giraffe?
You've yelled this very loudly before.
I'm still drawing a blank.
This is the North American Fatmucket.
The Fatmucket.
It's a freshwater mussel that the studio is named after.
Fatmucket Studios.
Fatmucket Studios. I thought it would be really funny because I told you what we were doing this week and you didn't remember.
Well,
Lampsilius.
You play it for the show.
Silqueidae, I think is how once you start saying it faster. The geographical regions of this animal are found in the Mississippi River drainage from New York to Minnesota. They occur in the south of Arkansas, but they do not really occur in central Tennessee or the Cumberland River systems.
Oh, okay.
And the St. Louis River systems, they are found in the Canadian Interior Basin. Fatmuckets are also found in Montana and eastern Colorado.
Oh, so they're pretty widespread.
Yeah, their range is kind of weird. And we'll talk about some of the weird things about them later. Is why they like certain things and don't like certain things. Is some big questions that some ecological biologists are really struggling with.
So the range is wide but very selective.
Yeah, they're very selective, but we'll come back to that. Hold on to that idea. In Michigan, they are found in drainages throughout the state, both the upper and lower peninsula, which is super odd. Because they don't really venture out in the other parts. It's just they're found in the Great Lakes, kinda. It's just super weird. There's a lot of weird things with these guys.
Freaky.
Although they may be found in various substrates and habitats, from lakes and headwaters to medium-sized rivers, Fatmuckets are usually found in quiet areas of the sandy, muddy substrates. So, like I said, even though they can be, nobody would question if you found them anywhere.
Okay.
Like if you accidentally found one in 200, like doing sediment surveys, doing 200 feet of water in the and sandy, pebbly bottom, you found a Fatmucket, you'd be like, all right, that's a little odd, but you wouldn't be like, oh, that's weird, you wouldn't freak out about it.
You shouldn't be
or
here.
Or you found it like a headwater, which headwater sometimes is like a foot wide.
Yeah.
And you found one up there, you'd be like, all right, well, you shouldn't be here, but whatever.
Yeah.
They kind of end up everywhere.
Okay.
But they like medium-sized rivers. So that's, for anybody kind of driving around, that's, let's say, 5 to 30 feet wide. That's kind of what they're looking at. And they like the sandy, muddy. So that's kind of the substrate, which substrate just means the bottom.
Okay.
Like when you go into the river and you just scoop up the bottom stuff, that's called substrate. So it can be everything from boulders can be substrate to mud.
Right, yeah.
And everything in between. But they like slow moving water most of the time. Freshwater, they're fully freshwater. Physical description of these guys. Fatmuckets are up to 12.5 centimeters long, which is about 5 inches.
Okay, that's pretty decent sized.
They are oblong to elliptical shaped.
Okay.
Like most freshwater mussels. If everybody can see the mussel, people call them clams a lot of times.
That's what I always called them.
They're different. They're both bivalves.
Yeah.
Different families.
Okay.
Like clams, mussels, and oysters are all very different.
What makes them different from clam to a mussel?
That's like asking what's different between, let's say, a dog and a cat. They're both mammals, right?
Yeah.
They both have a lot of the same body parts.
Okay.
But they both have a lot of differences too.
They're just different.
They're just their own thing.
Okay.
In a 15-minute show, you really can't
dive into
like gill raker counts. How much do you? Yeah. Let's read and then see what you have questions after. Just know mussels are different than clams and different than oysters.
And we won't even get into the gill raker stuff
or scallops.
Right, another piece of the puzzle.
So liberal state. Their shell thickness is uniform, but there may be ununiform, and there may be spots that are thin and thicker. So when you find their, just the shells, they have like bumps in them and stuff like that. Other like pocketbooks and stuff like that, which is another type of mussel, are much more uniform in thickness. This species is sexually dimorphic. Depending on habitat, sex, and age, the cell can be compressed or inflated. Their interior ends is rounded, while their posterior end is blunt and pointed in males, and triangular in females.
So anyone that's listening and doesn't know what sexually dimorphic is, basically, there's differences between the males and females.
Yeah,
physical differences.
You can look and tell the males and females apart. Their umbrae are broad and raised only slightly above their hinge line. Do you know what an umbrae is?
No.
So when you like have a mussel or a clam or whatever, you're looking at the back of the shell. That the two pieces of the shell that looks like they got like they make a little butt.
Yeah, like
that's
a little
the
bump.
umbrae.
Oh, okay.
It's right. It's where the hinge meets.
Exactly. Yes. Okay.
So those are umbraes.
Okay.
I always just called them little butts.
Basically.
It's nothing to do with their butts, but it just
looks like
looks like a tiny little butt cheeks. Older specimens tend to have darker or brownish in color. Their inner shell and their left valve and the two pseudo cardinal teeth, where they are erect and compressed.
Okay.
It's just the interiors of the shell. It doesn't matter for anything like this.
Is that how they eat their food or something?
No, it's like the hinges and stuff like that. It's for ID purposes.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So in Michigan, for example, Fatmuckets may be confused with muckets and pocketbooks, which are another type of mussel. Although muckets are compressed and slightly more elliptical, pocketbooks are rounder and have higher umbraes or umboes.
Which is the butt cheeks.
The butt cheeks. Their interior is almost always white. Occasionally, though, their interiors can be pink or salmon in color.
Oh, sounds delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like mussels.
These guys are really cool.
I think I caught one of these once, and I was probably like 12 up in Canada.
Don't admit any crimes.
Oh, no, I brought it back. I put it in a little like bowl of water. They was just up in Canada, water's like 2 feet deep where I was at, and I reached down and found one, picked it up, brought it back, and told my mom, like, I want to eat this. And she just was totally like, no, you're going to get sick and die.
A lot of them are toxic.
Don't do it.
Bivalves are like either really delicious or really toxic.
Oh, well.
There's not a lot of in between.
I really wanted it, and she said no.
So reproduction among umboids, gametogenesis is initiated by increased water temperature. Their life cycle includes open fertilization. Males release sperm into the water, which is taken in by the females through their respiratory currents. Eggs are fertilized internally in our subbranchial chambers where they breathe.
Okay.
And pass into water tubes of the gills and develop into glossarides.
Okay, which is?
We'll come back to that.
Oh, okay.
The age at which Fatmuckets reach sexual maturity is unknown. Sexes are separate and viparous. Basically, glossaridae, or the larval stage, they are released live after they are fully developed. Fatmuckets are long-term brooders. In Michigan, they are gravid from early August to late July on average.
Wow, 2 months.
No.
Oh, no, that's a whole year. I had it backwards.
It's 10 months.
Yeah, 10 months. Or 11.
They're 10 months.
Almost 12. Early August to late July? That's almost a full year. Because July, then August. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty much a year.
On average, it's 10 months. But then they release those into the water. So the sperm is released by the male. It's taken in by the female through her breathing. She fertilizes the eggs internally. She releases them into her breathing tube, where they stay for 10 months and develop.
That's crazy.
So they breed in the warmer months of the year. Average gestation is about 10 months. Females brood fertilize eggs in this pouch. The eggs develop into these things. There's no parental initiative for the females to release these things. So we'll come back to why they make why they help develop. Sorry, I'm losing my voice, but I can't tell.
It's been a long week.
Why they develop them more extensively in their breathing tube. We'll come back to that.
Okay.
Their age can be determined by looking at the anal rings on their shell. However, no demographic data has been recorded on this species, although members of this family generally approach 10 years in lifespan. So we don't really know how long Fatmuckets as a species live.
But 10 years seems like a decently long time.
Well, for bivalves, I think it was a quahog, which was like 810 years old.
What?
Yeah. So some bivalves live forever.
I guess I didn't know that. Holy moly.
And some bivalves live a year. So it's like trying to pick one, doesn't guessing an age on these things or the maximum lifespan is pretty hard. In general, mussels are rather sedimentary, although they may move in response to changing water levels and conditions. This is not thoroughly documented, but mussels have vertically migrated to release their basically the babies and spawn. Female Fatmuckets have a mantle flap that resembles a minnow or a darter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is their cool thing. So they have a mantle flap, and I've seen it. I have a video on my old phone. It literally looks like a little fish, and they push it out of their mouth, and it sits there and it swims like a fish or a darter, which lures in a host fish. So why they kept their babies in their breathing tube? Basically, they lure in a fish with this flap. And it literally looks like a minnow or a darter, and they move it around and stuff like that. So whatever individual breeder they want, what fish species they want, the fish comes up and bites the lure, and they shoot their babies at it. The babies have teeth on their shells, and they latch onto the gills of that fish, and they basically drink its bodily fluids and keep growing.
Oh, gosh, they're vampires.
So a lot of them are parasitic.
Yeah.
A lot of baby mussels. That's the whole reason that she kept them in for a year.
Just to release a vampire spawn of mussels.
And so this is very important for mussels. All mussels are endangered now in North America. So this is very important to understand for reintroduction. Some mussels are fish specific, as in one species of fish. So you have to make sure that species of fish is present for them to even reproduce.
Right, yeah.
So the ones that do darter lures, a lot of times they breed on those darters. So they'll mimic the male of that species. They come over, and like a big greenside darter will come over, and that's one that's a favorite because they're big. They're big for darters. Will come over and try to fight the lure, and then that's when they'll get sprayed. And they literally, sometimes they look like little red lesions all over the body, and it's baby mussels just chewing into them.
Oh, dang. Brutal. And I like darters. Poor guys.
Home range, there's currently no information available about what the actual home range of Fatmuckets are. Communication. Most bivalves have sensory organs located in the middle lobe of their mantle edge. The mussel's foot also includes paired cytocysts, which are fluid-filled chambers in which a solid granule or pellet is formed. The cytocysts help the mussel with geoperception and orientation. Mussels are heterothermic and therefore are sensitive and respond to temperatures dramatically.
Okay.
So all their behaviors are based on temperature. In general, these creatures may have some form of chemical receptors to recognize fish host. We're still looking into this. Like we said, some of them are less selective. Some of the species in the Fatmucket family are very
hyper selective.
Are less selective, and some of them are hyper selective to individual species. So, what do you think these guys eat?
Probably I was gonna say just small particulate filter feeders, right?
Yeah, they're filter feeders as adults. They use their cilia to pump water into their incoming siphons for food that's caught in mucous membranes. Detritus plankton as their primary diets, plant matter, algae, photoplanktons, those kind of things are what they're eating most of the time. The babies are parasitic, and they mostly absorb blood and other nutrients from the host they attach to. Mantle cells within these feed on the host tissues through phylocystis, which is just a type of parasitism, like an active, something that how they're eating them. What do you think is their predator?
Fish.
Everything. So Fatmuckets have been seen The following fish species are really hard on them. Freshwater drum, which they actually have internal teeth. They swallow them whole and they crush them up in their guts. Sheephead, which we're talking about in the brackish environments.
Yeah.
Like not what we call sheephead here in freshwater is not a sheephead.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Lake sturgeon, which will swallow them whole and really crush them up. Spotted suckers are a big predator of the babies. Common red horse and pumpkin seeds. But also known predators, muskrats are really good at eating them.
Oh, okay. I had to bet otters too.
Mink, raccoons, otters, turtles, hellbenders, freshwater drum sheephead, lake sturgeon, short-nosed sturgeon, spotted suckers, common red horse, catfish, and pumpkin seeds have all been witnessed really preying upon these. Now you want to talk about the species used. Sorry, guys, lose my voice. It's bad. Species used as host in these.
Okay.
So these guys aren't picky. Fatmuckets aren't a picky one. Bluegill, black crappie, largemouth bass, walleye, white crappie, yellow perch, long-eared sunfish, blunt-nosed minnows, sandshiners, sauger, and smallmouth bass are among their favorites.
Okay. Oh, they're hosts.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you notice almost all of those are predatory
Yeah.
because their lure looks kind of like a blunt-nosed minnow, which is one of the most common minnows in the Mississippi drainage.
Oh, okay. Let's say all those fish are here.
Yeah, so that's why the blunt-nosed minnow and the sandshiners will kind of fight with each other. So that's why those guys get in the brawl too.
Okay.
Commensal parasite species. So things that eat them are unquadal mites, termitodes, and chromatal larvae. Just really tiny things.
Yeah, I don't know what any of those things are.
So economic importance for humans in the positive. Mussels are ecological indicators. Their presence in the water body usually indicates good water quality.
Ooh. What do they score?
They're well, we don't even use them for scoring anymore.
Okay.
There's not many of them left.
Okay.
Like I said, if they're there, it's there's an insect called a water penny, and that they're pretty much, they're only found in the best of the best water. Mm-hmm. So there's kind of when you're a macro invertebrate person, you're like, oh, it's water pennies. We can leave.
Right. Yeah. Things are good.
It's going to be on the top. It's going to score high. Mm-hmm. Mussels are like that too.
Okay. Cool.
There's I think one species, like a green sunfish, a fish, that's like will just be in poo water. There's
largemouth bass.
Yeah. There's like only one species of mussel that's even
capable,
close to that. There are no significant negative impacts to humans.
Hey. All right. Fatmucket for the win.
Yeah. People confuse the invasive ones for the native ones, like zebra mussels.
Yes, those are bad.
Yeah, and they are decimating a lot of the native ones. Like zebra mussels almost blew up Big Bertha.
Big Bertha, what's that?
The nuclear power plant on Lake Erie.
Oh, really? Oh, yes, we talked about that.
Yeah,
they scraped off or something.
Yeah,
right?
They closed up her water intake grate.
Yeah.
So fast that she couldn't cool down.
Yeah, that's bad.
And now they got it under control. They have 2 layers of grates and they pull them out and actually scrape them. But they breed fast.
Gosh.
Conservation status. When this was written in 2012, they were least concerned. But since then, they've all been put on the endangered species list.
Okay.
So mussels are weird. And one of their weird things is dam removal projects, for example. When we remove a dam, after about a year, we almost see every species of fish bounce back exponentially. Dams are one of the worst things we've ever done to any river systems. They cause sedimentation and stuff like that. Even low-head dams, they basically cause these giant sandbars.
Right, yeah.
And it destroys habitats. It destroys breeding areas. It's really bad for water quality. So pretty much every species of anything in the water, after about a year of removing a dam, likes it. Like, oh, this is good. This is good stuff. Mussels are the only one that sometimes they disappear and they don't come back. And we don't really know why.
Well, because you just devastated their native land for who knows how many years.
But the point is that when you put it back to how it's supposed to be.
Right, they're over it.
Yeah.
Mussels are moody, is what we found out.
Moody. But we really do not know why. And Ed Rankin, a guy I worked for, he's one of the top fisheries biologists in this country. He was specialized. I haven't talked to him in a couple of years, but he was one of the main biologists that was actually working on this issue. And they don't know. They have no idea why. And there are all these tests that we were doing constant test trying to figure this out. No idea why. And it's one thing that, for dam removal, mussels are struggling really bad throughout the U.S. We also use them to determine there's a freshwater mussel that they have basically attached to power dams that controls the heads. It's the fail-safe.
Okay.
Literally, they glue these mussels to the side, and they glue a little sensor to their face.
So if
the mussels close,
yeah,
then but a bunch of them have to close. It's not like one closes.
Okay.
If a bunch of them close, it'll start releasing water.
Oh, okay.
It's a fail-safe.
Yeah. That's pretty interesting.
So there's your Fatmucket.
Fatmucket.
Did you really didn't know about the lure thing?
No.
I'll show you a video after this.
Okay.
I highly advise everybody. They look just like little fish.
Yeah.
Some of them look like crustaceans, but most of them look like little fish.
That's pretty neat.
And they dance with them and stuff like that. There's a video, I think, of somebody I used to not work with directly in our company, but knew through work, like poking one of the lures, and you just see all the babies spray
out. That'd be nuts.
But they bite. Like they have under a microscope, they look like piranha.
The little babies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their shells are just teeth.
That sounds awful.
And they just sit there and they chew on their host to keep them bleeding.
Yeah. That sounds awful.
They're not great. They do not feel great.
No, I bet not.
You just see largemouth and smallmouth bass hitting their heads against rocks trying to get them off.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds awful.
Yeah. I have been the great and peaceful Mr. E.
And I've been Jay.
And we'll catch you next week, guys.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Freaky Fauna Friday. If you want to help the podcast grow, remember to share and give it a 5-star review.